Every day, we build the world around us.
But who's checking in on us?
Welcome to Built4us.
It's a brand new podcast.
Built by construction workers, for construction workers.
It's our own honest space.
There's no scripts, there's no suits. It's just
Real talk about mental health, stress,
And showing up for each other.
Okay, well, welcome to episode 16 of this incredible podcast, Built for Us. It's genuinely for construction workers, by construction workers. And tonight I'm with my good mate Vish, and we're talking about listening. How are you, my friend?
I'm very well, thank you. I'm very well, thank you. Listening. Now, that is a topic which I don't think anyone has really truly mastered. It's such a challenge because we're not natural born listeners, are we? We're kind of, we want to find solutions. We want to hear the problem and find a solution straight away. But I kind of got a different thought process behind it. And it kind of really does start in construction. You know, where we've kind of really emphasized and pushed people to go, how are you? No, really, how are you? That's like phase one of, building that rapport, improving mental health. But I don't think we speak enough about phase two. And that's when somebody actually responds going, I had a bit of a shit day today. It's at that stage, the art of listening, if you like, really does play a part.
Yeah, it's a really fantastic point, mate. Some of us are have become comfortable in asking how people are. Some of us are getting used to it, and some of us do it because we genuinely care. But then when somebody then hangs on to that and thinks, oh, wow, yeah, and we potentially stimulate one of those critical conversations that we really know that is important, that's when that skill of listening, that you're exactly right, kicks in, because we hear and we learn and we talk about effective communication all the time. But listening is such a massive, massive part of communication. It really is. And if somebody were to, respond and say, well, truth is, I am struggling a bit, or I've had a shit day, or even if they just do it by their expression that tells you he or she's got something to say, I think that's where, rather than say, and then vomit all this stuff to them to convince them that you're willing to talk, you can pass it very, very quickly. That can be a very small window of opportunity for that person. So you've almost got to signal straight back, oh, really? Do you want to talk about it? Or God and me? I mean, should we have a drink? Or I don't know, anything. But it has to be, in my humble opinion, quite short, because that person's not necessarily going to be, this might be the first time they've ever shown any signs of opening up.
Absolutely. I couldn't agree with you more. And it would be a lie to say I haven't been that person where someone's come up to me after I've asked, how you doing, mate? You all right? And they've gone, you know what? I've actually had a bit of a shit day today. And I've gone, blah, 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 blah. No, that person didn't need to hear that. That person just needed exactly what you said there, Clive. Mate, I've had a bad day too. Do you want to go for a drink? That instantly breaks the ice. It doesn't make that other person feel uncomfortable. It's like, okay, cool, I'm not alone here. And it also inspires them to go, I actually do need to go for a drink. And by the way, when we say drink, we don't mean you have to go to the pub and have 10 pints. It can be go to Costa and have a cup of tea or a nice latte or a hot chocolate, or whatever it is you fancy, a glass of water. Yeah. Or you can even go for a walk. Mental health and walks are absolutely fantastic. And men tend to communicate better when they're side by side doing something else. So going for a walk is actually a fantastic idea. Offload. But when we come back to listening, there's so many different factors to play into it. And I want to jump straight into the other side of listening as well. And that's setting boundaries, because that is something that we don't often talk about or hear about. For example, let's say you're having a bad day. Let's shift it from being the person who's asked, how are you, to the person who's on a podium, working, doing whatever they're doing on a construction site or a house or whatever it is. And you're not in the place to actually listen. You're not in the place to have a conversation. You're not in the place to, I don't know, go deep into something, or even in a position to answer a complicated question. I think that's where we need to start talking openly about setting boundaries, which kind of go, look, I still want to be professional. I don't want to be abrupt, rude, or arrogant. But on the same space, I want to kind of go, look, I'm not in the right headspace to talk about this. Have you got any ideas or words people can use in that situation?
Yeah. Well, I like you, I've been in that situation so many times. First of all, I've been in that position where I felt the need to offer all this so-called what I thought was wonderful help and support when actually I was throwing far too much at them far too quick. We've all done that. We've all done that. Because, of course, what we don't want to do, the worst thing that we can ever display is any form of judgment. And sometimes, even when we're not intentionally doing it, we can sometimes appear like we've got it all sorted. We've been there, we've seen it and done it. So if you listen to me, I might be able to help. And there's a bit of judgment in that kind of script, and it's not intended, but we need to avoid it. So I think if
agree with you 100%.
Yeah, it's difficult, mate, isn't it? It's very, very difficult. But we're human, and we have bad days, and there are times where we want someone to respect our boundaries, or we definitely need to respect theirs, or both. So I think if we're struggling ourselves and we're not feeling it, and somebody is trying to help, but we're just not ready to talk, our heads are a little bit mashed, there's something playing on our minds, I think all we can do is be as open and as honest as possible and just say, I'm just not feeling it at the moment, my friend. Maybe we can talk about it another time. And then hopefully, the person that's trying to talk to you and potentially help you will pick up straight away that it's not, everything's okay, but it's just not now. Just not now. We all, and there's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with that. You know, people look at us, Vish, and think because we do things like this, or we get up on a stage and we talk to people, that we've got it all sorted and we can just hit autopilot any time of the day. And it's not the case. There is no judgment from us because we are real people, you know, and that's why we try and relate within the construction industry, because we talk to people on the level, you know, it's not, you know, so you've made some really good points there, but boundaries must be respected from both sides.
And I think it's not even just in the workplace. When I'm going to go really personal here and include my partner into this conversation, there will be days. Well, let me take it back a minute. In this day and age, we live in this bubble of everyone has to be 50-50. You have to be 50, your partner has to be 50%. But in reality, I don't personally think life works that way. There'll be days where she's 70%, I'm 30%, vice versa, etc., etc. And something I've learned about communication, listening, and acknowledging those small, I can't remember the word, but it's like small movements in somebody where they, you know, you kind of just suss them out. You kind of understand by what their emotions are. You can kind of go, okay, I can push a bit further or not here. But one thing I've learned with my partner is open communication is so important. There'll be days where I'm at like 30%, I'm absolutely deteriorated, I've not slept good, I've had a really rough day at work, been stuck in endless traffic, come home, and you know the questions will be fired and the dog will be going crazy as he always does, and you just need a moment to breathe. And one thing I've learned with my partner is to go, babe, I just need 10 minutes to just recharge, refresh, because in her head she doesn't understand what I've been through. We haven't spoken throughout the day. So she needs that space to go, oh, okay, cool. Fish just needs 10 minutes to chill. So she'll sort out the dog. And it works vice versa. She can walk through the door and I can do the same for her. But in the workplace, I don't see it to be any different. If I'm working and I'm just not in a headspace, I've only recently learned where I can go, mate, similar to what you said, Clive. I was like, mate, I'd love to have this conversation, but right at this moment, I'm not in the headspace to have it. Let's catch up in an hour or so and we can, you know, have a cup of tea or whatever and talk about it. And it's weird. You start building a rapport and have respect for the other person, whichever position you're in, either you're the one saying no or you're the one receiving no, you actually build a much healthier relationship.
Yeah, absolutely. And you're right. It applies in a personal life, with your relationships, with your partners, with your families, with your, but why don't we relay that to the workplace? Because it's exactly the same. So if you want someone to listen to you, genuinely listen to you, their mind has to be open, not just their ears, but their mind has to be open. Otherwise, it's just going to go straight over there. And all your good intention and all these pearls of wisdom that you want to impart on that person will be lost. So that's why, to listen properly, we have to understand, well, are we ready to listen? Is he or she ready to listen? And I think it's really important that we have the confidence and the self-compassion to be able to say at home or at work, just give me an hour, or come back to me on that, or, oh, do you know what? My head's fried at the moment. Even if you want to be a little bit comical about it, but as long as you've made your point and the boundaries are set, and hopefully that'll be respected. And then the next time you speak, the person that was going to talk to you will, as you said, will have respected your honesty. You've protected yourself, because you don't want to listen to stuff when you're genuinely not ready to hear it. It's a waste of everybody's time. And yeah, we can apply that everywhere. I do it, like you say, I do it with my wife all the time. Sometimes she won't know if she sees me at 5 o'clock when I collect her from work. And similarly for me, I don't necessarily know what sort of day she's had. We've been together for a long time and we know each other. But, we're not telepathic. I know she thinks she is, but she probably isn't. But yeah. So if all it takes is, hey, listen, babe, I've had a nightmare this afternoon. So can I just listen to some of this music that you think's terrible on the way home, and then we'll have a chat after tea? And she'll say, yep, all right, then, you grumpy bugger. And we'll have a laugh, and that'll be it. And there'll be no horrible conversation. She respects and it works both ways as well. But she would not be able to listen to my problems, and I will not be able to listen to hers, had we not just been honest and laid those boundaries out.
And the beautiful thing here is, Clive, neither of us have said, fuck off, mate. Like, just fuck off. You're not saying that. We can still be really nice, really pleasant.
Yeah.
And we don't also need to over explain. We don't have to go, I'm not in the headspace because of X, Y, Z, and ABC. We can just go, I'm just not in the right headspace. You don't need to explain anything further than that, because then it becomes a conversation. And that's the one thing you don't actually want at that stage. Yeah. So I honestly, I couldn't agree with you more with everything you've said. But okay, so let's think about it. We've gone to phase one, where we've plucked up the courage and started embedding how are you to our friends, our colleagues, our loved ones at home. And now we're starting to get to understand, okay, I'm in a position to hear you. I want to listen to you. I want to accept and understand with an open mind what you're saying. But I want to kind of flip it here. What if you're the person who wants to really share something to someone, but they're not in the right headspace to hear it? So what would I do in that situation?
Yeah, well, if you've picked up on it, and if you're desperate and you feel now's the time for somebody to give you a real good listening to, if you've picked up that person, it's the wrong time, for your own sanity as well as theirs, you have to just think, well, okay, I'll try again in a bit, because again, you'll start to say what you want to say anyway. One of my sons is like this. I've got 4 boys, Vish, and they're all incredible. One of those boys, he wears his heart on his sleeve. Okay, he's a great listener, but he talks. He could put a glass eye to sleep, right? But the thing with him is, he would struggle to say, oh, so it's not the time then, is it, Dad? But I've got to tell you, and it would probably come out anyway. But the problem with that is, I wouldn't receive it well enough to be able to give him a considered response, and perhaps give him a little bit of assistance and help that he's looking for. Even if it is just for me to say nothing, and genuinely through expression on my face and my body language, for him to allow him to tell me all that. It would be far better for him to be able to recognize, okay, next time, for him as well as me. But it's a difficult fish, isn't it? It's really difficult. And it really is difficult when we are in that position where we really need to get this out. Because for some of us, if we have to say, okay, next time, we might not do it next time. You know, I come across people in my life all the time that they can be that sensitive and that deep that you've almost got to, oh my goodness, they're ready to talk. And even if you've almost got to try and make it work because you don't want them to lose that opportunity.
I completely agree. Sorry, I dropped you right in it with a difficult question like that. But I think something that I've learned being in that position is I try not to solely rely on one individual person in my life. So what I try and do, and again, this is really hard because, as I've said on previous podcasts, I don't have a huge family. I don't have lots of friends. I've got a very, very, very small circle of people that I can truly rely on. So I'm not one of those guys who's got my phone's constantly blowing up. It's, to be fair, I think the last person that messaged me was you, Clive. So, so I'm not one of those popular geezers, but the people who I can connect with, I try and, this is a very harsh word to use, but I try not to burden one person with all my problems. I'm a fair person. I'll equally burden everyone with small amounts of problems. But I do think if you're a person at the other end of this, listening to this podcast and going, I've only got my missus to speak to, honestly, I can't emphasize this enough, but try widen that circle. Go to networking events. If you love a sport, like Clive, you love boxing, you love all sports to be fair, but if you enjoy boxing, go to a boxing club, and I promise you will build relationships. And that's something that I don't think we talk about enough on any podcast. It's how important it is to have relationships that are so good that you can pick up the phone to them and go, I'm struggling, and I need somebody to listen to me, or be that person for somebody else's life and go, mate, I'll listen to you, no problems at all. What other ways can we kind of help people build relationships to get them out if they have got a really, really small circle?
Well, I mean, sport is brilliant. I can speak from boxing from personal, but boxing is a real leveler. You go into any boxing gym on any level, and you've got to leave your ego at the door. And there's the guys and the girls that I've met over the years there are exactly that. There is no judgment. There's no talk about who's here, who's there. And there are guys and girls in there that struggle, physically, mentally, every which way. But in that boxing gym, all bets are off. You're all the same. You've got to have a thick skin. You've got to have a bit of banter, and it helps. So I think that's good. And it is really good in life. And I know a lot of people, but I haven't got a massive circle of friends. Not what I would call friends. I've got some real long-standing friends, but I've got lots of mates. There's a difference, isn't there?
Yeah.
So I think remembering that your circle, in terms of, they don't all have to be friends. They might just be acquaintances, mates. They might be a bit bigger than you think. There might be somebody at work. Sport's absolutely fantastic. Any of your hobbies, any of your passions, walking, dog walking, you can meet all kinds of people. But you have to be open and receptive to that. But a point I wanted to make as well, but sort of in line with everything that we've spoke about, is that for people that might be struggling and think that listening might be one of the elements of their problems, that it's not just that you need to find, or it will be beneficial to find somebody that will sit and listen to you. Something that I found really helps over my own mental health challenges is that my eyes and my ears and my mind can be open to listening to other things and other people that I wouldn't not necessarily have done before, but I absorb myself in things, and I've discovered new interests and things that I wouldn't necessarily listen to. That is really personally rewarding, because you get lost in it a little bit, and it's quite exciting to find a new interest, and it's quite interesting to listen to other people. And it might be in a podcast, it might be in a sporting gym, and you're just listening to the banter, and you're listening and you're working out who the characters are. But it's all, you're listening, you're taking it in. And then you can think, well, I'm not quite sure about that. I'll try this. Or that was really cool, actually. That was really interesting. But it's all because you had your eyes, ears, and mouth and everything else open to the idea of absorbing new things. So the point there, a very long way round of saying that it's not just about you sitting with someone to listen to you. It's wider than that. There's options around you that's bigger than that can be just as rewarding and helpful to you.
That's a really interesting point. And I think touching on that, something that's spiraled to mind there is being present. It's so hard being present in 2026. You've got Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, Facebook, WhatsApp, emails, text messages or iMessage, and the list kind of just goes on. I can then go down Netflix, Amazon, Disney. It just goes on and on and on. But I think something that everyone, including myself and probably you, Clive, needs to be better at is being present. Because the worst thing we can do when we're trying to listen to someone is go, I know your thing is really important. I've got to respond to this email. And I'll be honest, Clive, I've been in a position where I've done that to people I truly love and care about with all my heart. Yeah. And it's so easily done because we're so distracted. And one thing that I'm trying really, really hard to do is if somebody's in a position where they want to open up, I'm mindfully, intentionally just be present and putting my phone away, or not away in another room, just turning it upside down or putting it on silent so that I can truly be present and listen to that person's emotions and feelings and go, you know what? I'm not here to solve every single one of your problems, but I can solve one of them, and that's just letting you offload. In 2026, it's so goddamn hard to just be present and put your phone down or all these distractions.
Oh, it's absolutely huge. I'm going to sound like a real old fart now, probably because I am one, but we are all completely, we're overstimulated, and the problem with all this technology, which has its benefits, of course, but the only problem is that it's taking away our focus in so many ways. It takes our focus away. And that is something, you're absolutely right. That is something that you need to offer for the person that wants to talk to you and the person or the people that you want to listen to. You know, that overstimulation is a massive problem, and we're all guilty of it. I don't care who, we're all guilty of it.
Yeah, absolutely. I just wanted to quickly sound check. Can you hear me okay?
I've got you now. You did drop once or twice, but you're back now.
I'm sorry, because I think when I picked up my phone, my hotspot must have dropped out quickly. So I'm glad I'm back. I'm glad I'm back, yeah.
You are back with us, my friend. Well, that probably is. I don't, unless if there's any strong points that you want to make, Vish, that might be an idea for us to wrap up this particular episode. And just to say to absolutely everybody that we're not here to judge, not on this podcast. We're here to offer our experiences, good, bad, and indifferent. We would love to hear from any of you for your comments. Share it as widely as you can. If any of us can help you, please let us know, because we're more than willing to do that. And we'll see you on the next episode. Vish, thank you so much for your time, mate.
It's absolute pleasure. Absolute pleasure.
Thanks for viewing this episode. We really appreciate your support. Remember, follow us, subscribe, share with a mate, join us live. Built for us. Let's build something stronger together.